Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning. And well, let's try that again. Welcome and good morning, kids. Welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Show, episode number 228, season 3. I'm doing this all backwards this morning, it seems, here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah, Mr. Grizzly here, looking fine, looking fine. Today, recording day is Thursday. So flash in the cufflinks. Thursday, October 12th, 2023. But more importantly, day before opening night for yours truly. Pardon?
Any jitters?
I'm actually too tired for jitters.
Understood.
Yeah, it's the last 2 nights have been very, 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 very short, and you could probably see it in my face. So hopefully today, between the show and the big rehearsal, where we move into the big theater with the whole orchestra pit and everything, where we're dealing with all the union people, so we have to be very, very quick and efficient because time is money in theater. Definitely, time is money in theater. Yeah, I'm going to need to, and it's probably going to be extra long today. So, yeah, I'm going to need a nap because 2 nights in a row working on about 3.5 hours sleep. Eesh. The last 2 days have been tough for yours truly, my friends. Only because, oh my God, I'm sounding like Doug Ford now. My kids, yeah, I said my friends. My kids, because I am, the last 2 days, I've had 3 anchors in my schedule, both at least 2 to 3 hours time. So the days have I've literally had an hour and a half each of the last 2 days that were fully mine for like doing stuff like eating and
those
washing
silly
yourself,
little things.
or going to the bathroom. So yeah, I'm actually kind of happy because yesterday was then. I mean, even though there's still a lot to do, the Tuesday and Wednesday were the big humps because I knew that the days were going to be completely full and there was no possible way that I'd be going to bed past midnight on either day. And then thrown into that, we had the biggest news story of the year here in Canada politics, with Doug Ford's government being
Investigate.
announced that it's being investigated by the RCMP, and then a few days before war. So it's y'all picked a fine time to get very busy, people.
Of course they did.
Yeah, like how freaking inconsiderate. Don't you know that the Queen has stuff going on?
They don't care. You know that. They're all self-centered pricks.
Tell you, Queen's work is never done, and good help is so hard to find. Anyway,
Take your word for it.
that's why I'm sticking with Mr. Grizzly. According to Mr. Grizzly, he's staff.
Yeah, I am the staff.
Yeah, we consider him a little more highly than staff. But whatever he says goes. He's the boss. When we're producing the show, he's God. So, all right, kids. Thank you to our sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver. Pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver. And with me, as always, as you can hear, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. We have a nibble for you this morning. But Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today?
I am feeling really good. Yeah, really good. 2 days in a row, feeling really good. I'm at about 95%. So
And that's those big work days?
yeah, oh yeah. Yesterday,
Wow.
yesterday was a 13-hour day in the office, no breaks. I mean, I ate, I had lunch, I had breakfast, and I had dinner, but I didn't have any. Like I was working the whole time, so it was like I'd be eating and working and eating. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have white-collar desk jobs that can completely understand that. You got a tight deadline or a tight timeline or a tight work schedule. You just eat while you're working. So yeah, 13 hours yesterday, no real breaks, but that's fine. I don't mind. Today will be standard 8-hour, 9-hour day today. I guess, yeah, it'll be a 9-hour day today, and tomorrow regular stuff. So we're all good.
Oh, is that like just this week that's going to be heavy like that?
Yeah, next week should be back to just 44, 45 hours. Nothing outrageous. This week was just because it was big board meetings, right? So, and normally it's only a 2-day event. This occasion it was a 3-day event, which is out of the ordinary. But it was a special one. So duty calls. I go to duty.
You said duty.
Duty.
Yes, kids, I'm all of 6. All right.
Scatological humor. Yeah. Well, I get it. Again, this morning I will be jumping in and out, and I have to be gone at 8 a.m. because it's another hard deadline for me today.
All right.
Tomorrow we'll make up for it with a nice long show. And I apologize for being a couple minutes late this morning. Had a few complications when I got into the office, so I couldn't jump on right away. I have, a day job I have to deal with first. So,
as we keep on saying at the Beaver Lodge, we don't care when you arrive, so long as you get here.
Cool.
So thank you so much for all the efforts that you're doing, because if you weren't doing it remotely, there would be no show.
To answer your question, the Daily Beaver, it was great working with Greg Lawrence. Super easygoing guy, just chill as could be. He knew exactly what he wanted, but he wasn't a demanding individual. He's like, okay, we're going to do that take again because I need you to do it this way. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. It was like super easy to work with him, but I'm a relatively amiable person and I'm easy to get along with. Just tell me what you need me to do. That's what I say to Bridget all the time. Just tell me what you need me to do. It's not complicated.
Yep. Watch the Butch Patterson episode with Mr. Grizzly Classic. I do not know what that refers to.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
I appeared the Butch Patterson Private Dick was a series on comedy. The Comedy Channel, I forget what it was called back then. This was in 1999. It ran for 3 years. It was shot here in Ottawa. It was written, directed, and produced by Greg Lawrence. Greg Lawrence is from Belleville. He grew up on the same street as John Chrisfaluzzi, the guy who did Ren and Stimpy, and another buddy of mine. I see his face. I can't think of his name right now. They all grew up on the same street. They all went into the arts. John being an animator, Greg being a writer, director, producer, actor, and my buddy being a producer and director. They all grew up on the same street in Belleville, and they all did very, very well for themselves. So that show was back in 1999. I did a couple episodes of it actually, but the one where I had a little bit more feature was the dance marathon episode where I was the DJ.
Okay.
So you see me throughout the show, and then there's a close-up where I'm passed out on the turntables with a record in my hand. Then at the end, I'm asleep on the ground, and then Stuntman Stu, my buddy Stu, He comes over, wakes me up. I get up and I walk into the scene and I take a photo and I walk out of frame. And that's
Okay. So that was that thing that you showed us an image of the other day.
yeah. Back
Okay.
when I had hair, I had blonde hair. It was
Yes.
1999. I mean, you know,
Yes. Speaking of, you said like falling asleep at the turntable. Yesterday afternoon, I fell asleep right here.
that happens.
Right here. I was writing the descriptions for the last 2 days' shows.
Mhm.
And somewhere in the description for yesterday's show, while I was here typing, I fell asleep. And as of course I'm like listening to yesterday's show, well, skimming through yesterday's show in order to be able like to pick the subjects up, because I put the list of little subjects with like cute little names that we're
Mhm.
dealing with. So the show was still running. Apparently my Beaver sweetie came home. Walked
Fantastic.
through the door, heard the show still running. I was sitting here. Apparently, he said hello twice or 3 times before. I didn't hear anything and tried to like wake me gently with a nice little kiss, and did it. And then the third time he did, it was like,
Sound asleep. Sound asleep.
right through, right through the bulkhead. He scared me half to death. But yeah, I'm a tired beaver. When you fall asleep sitting up at the computer, and I wasn't even hunched over actually.
Was that song by Night Ranger from Midnight Madness? When you close your eyes, do you dream about me?
Well, I was hearing your voice, that's for sure. You're subliminally coming into my mind while I was sleeping.
Close enough. I'll take that as a win.
So, kids, if I start clucking like a chicken, for some reason, it's because Mr. Grizzly hypnotized me while I was out.
My mellifluous speaking voice tends to have a way of doing that with people. Have you? Do you know that song by Night Ranger? From Midnight Madness?
What's the title of it?
When you close your eyes, do you dream about me?
I don't think, not from the title.
But it was the same. It was the same album that Sister Christian was on.
Is it a ballad?
No, Sister Christian is.
No,
But
no, not Sister Christian. When you close your eyes.
no, it's when you close your eyes, do you dream about me?
Nope, don't know that one.
When you close your brick down. Anyway, it's a good song.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will have
Jack
to look it up.
Jack Blades was the vocalist.
All right. Right. Okay, so I know people want me to talk about this because there have been some requests.
Talk about what? What's that? What you're talking about?
Oh, our good friend Ski, showing that he is not yet quite ready for the job.
Oh, that.
Yes.
Yeah. Why wasn't Canada invited to make a comment on the Quint? Because we're not a member.
Yes.
Usually I don't get invited to a club to make a comment about the club when I don't belong to it.
Yes, indeed. So what happened is that during, and this is not a new play for the Conservatives, if you will remember. A couple of months ago, the United States signed that agreement with Australia for their use of their nuclear submarines, which kind of made France a little pissed off because they were about to sign a deal with Australia, and the United States just came in and said, "How about you use these ones instead?" So, and then they were all around going, why wasn't Canada included in this deal? And, the 3 or 4 nations that were part of that agreement was one that we were just not a part of and never part of. Well, this one, Pierre, while you have all this misinformation going on about the embassy being closed, you also had this. So they were, while this is going on, they're lighting 1,000 little brush fires.
Of course they are.
Right. And this was one of them. Over the weekend, anyway, it said, I don't know if you read it, specifically what PB said.
Oh, well, hang on. I'll put it back up on the screen and I'll read it out loud for the folks who, it says, over the weekend, the White House gathered Germany, France, Italy, UK to agree on a joint statement on the Middle East. Justin Trudeau found out in the media. He is sidelined again.
Okay. Now, they love to do this thing, right? The Prime Minister's been sidelined. He doesn't write. Everybody's laughing at him. We're such an embarrassment. Okay. So, it seems that not only was that going on through the Conservatives, but it was also happening through the news agencies, because the story had initially come out that there had been a G7 meeting to have a common statement condemning Hamas for its attack on Israel, and Canada had not been invited. So the opposition pounced on that story, but so did lots of media. And turns out that it wasn't a G7 meeting, but as Mr. Grizzly says, one of a group of countries called the Quint nations. Now, as the name suggests, it's a group of 5 nations, right? That also happen to be among the G7 nations. But they're either nuclear power nations, like the United States, the United Kingdom, or France, or they are nuclear sharing nations like Germany and Italy, Canada, and Japan, who's the other member of the G7 nation that nobody in Canada was wondering why Japan was left out, and whether or not that was an embarrassment for their country as well. Apparently, was just for us, even though both of us were left out.
Well, the Quint is 5 nations that share nuclear arms. We don't have those.
That's exactly it. Canada and Japan are neither of those.
We're not a member of Quint because we're not one of the 5 nations that has nuclear warheads. So now,
Yes.
Polyev should know this, but once again, he should know this, but then again, he is an ignorant asshole. So likely he doesn't. So he had to try and make hay of something, which puts egg on his own face, because why would we get invited to make a statement for something we're not a member of? We wouldn't. Oh, I've got something else for you too.
Okay.
No.
Whoa.
Wait a second. Wait, don't do that. Don't do that. I have something else for you. I'm going to bring it up later, okay? Later. Something later. I've got it in the hopper for later on. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Okay.
Much later.
Okay. It's an informal decision-making group, and it's linked to other big organizations, right?
Oh, yes.
These leaders discuss all the major international topics, participate in video conferences on meeting in other various forums such as NATO, the OSCE, the G20, the UN. If you're talking about foreign affairs, you should know what the Quint is. Now, in Canada, we hear about them very little because we're not involved.
Exactly.
We're not a member. So we have a situation where in the space of a few days, the person who's presenting himself to us as Canada's inevitable next prime minister has shown that after 20 years, because he likes to say after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, after 20 years of Pierre Poilievre in Parliament, he is not aware that a statement is by the group called the Quint. None of his party operations or research team or anything either bothered to take a look at it or deliberately just said, we don't care, we're just going to lie. But let's assume they probably didn't look at it because let's say they too thought it was the G7 thing. Again, it's the House of Commons incident all over again.
Yes.
Somebody said something, you took it as being true, you stood up and applauded in case of the House of Commons. Here in case you just jumped right on the bandwagon, let's just jump on our prime minister and create yet another international embarrassment for ourselves by showing that we have a nation that has a leader of an opposition who always introduces himself to people as His Majesty's loyal opposition, who for some reason keeps on being caught trying to humiliate or embarrass or debase his own nation in the international press.
All the time.
And this happens right on the heels of this guy showing us that he also cannot math by comparing a turkey in 2005,
Yes.
2015, when he was in government, to a turkey in 2023, comparing a frozen turkey to a fresh turkey, like it's comparing a sale price to a regular price, and not even adjusting his price for inflation. He can't keep the word inflation or just inflation out of his mouth.
After 20 years of Pierre Poilievre tabling one piece of legislation that was so horrendously bad that
And
other
sunk as
governments called
government.
it out. Sunk as government. Other governments called it out. Economists around the world said this is terrible. People within his own party said this is not good. I think 20 years of this guy's been enough. I think that's our new campaign slogan. 20 years of Polyev has been enough, with zero legislation to show for anything that was worth anything, let alone that one piece that, sunk his government.
Yep. So
there's your soundbite, Liberal and NDP parties.
But you have, like I said, he's this apparently financial genius who recommended Bitcoin and can't do a comparative price analysis from one year to another.
He's an idiot.
And he wants the purse strings. And now, apparent I was going to say apparent foreign policy expert, but he's not presenting himself as such at all. In fact, I remember a couple of days ago, he was making a comment, and I hope I can find it at some point so that we can play it for you. But he was sitting there, and remember when the Prime Minister was talking about monetary policy? And he said, I don't think much of monetary policy because, and he said a whole bunch of things, and then the Conservatives stopped that at, I don't think about monetary policy, and then they flipped that as saying it's not my business, or I don't care about it. And then they've been laughing at him all this time. But when it's not the Prime Minister's job to think of monetary policy, that's the Bank of Canada's job, and government is not supposed to influence the Bank of Canada. Just give them the data that they need so that they can do their analysis. Well, Padiev was basically asked about the stuff going on around the world, and basically said, he prefers not to voice an opinion or something like this, or not interfere or meddle or comment about things going on in other countries. So it's Israel. Like, if there's one country in the world, the whole Western Bloc does things that will have a lot of us going, for every now and then, it's Israel. I mean, even Ukraine is worried at the moment that because everybody's now looking to Israel and trying to help it, that they're just going to forget it exists. And I'm thinking that probably Putin is hoping for that too, which is probably why he's helping with his good friend Iran. Probably hasn't been established yet in the public domain, but probably helping over there because he knows he's losing in Russia, and what better way to distract an enemy by creating another front? Spread things a little thin, right? Especially since the United States has a bit of a short attention span, at least for the people, right? There's already people going like, okay, when we get out of Ukraine, they haven't won it yet. So, PP, if you got a leader of the opposition who can't math and is not aware of some of the basics of foreign policy, and on a situation like this, wants to go to the members of the Jewish faith at their most vulnerable moment and pander as he did in that address that he gave at that solidarity night, but not want to take a firm position publicly, much like he didn't want to take a firm position publicly on what's actually happening with foreign interference because he didn't want to go get his security clearance. I mean, again, don't want to get your security clearance, don't want to be informed, is not informed about comparative price analysis, is not informed about which military alliances we are in and not in after 20 years. It prompts one question. Dude, what have you been doing all this time? on our dime and in our name. 20 freaking years. What have you been doing? Yeah. Man, that guy, I swear. He literally is just ambition on two legs. When people used to, they probably still do. They speak about women at the office and turn around and say, she's ambitious, or in politics. But like it's a bad thing. He's an ambitious young man. Like such a go-getter. I was like, oh, she's ambitious.
He's a useless cockwomble. Go
He,
ahead, look up
he's that too.
cockwomble. One word. Look it up.
Yeah, he is that too. Anyway, in other news, the economy in September added 64,000 jobs here in Canada, which tripled estimates. Those were the expectations. And in the United States, 336,000 jobs were created, which was the biggest monthly gain this year. And in the United States, they had positive upward revisions for the previous 2 months. Again, this is causing a lot of people to have a little bit of panic that the Bank of Canada might be feeling, hey, we keep on trying to raise these interest rates in part to try and cool down the job market. Because, and hopefully to not have wage inflation go out of control is what they're thinking, because they're really worried about like 1980, 1982 happening again. We also have a really interesting situation where last month, when the unemployment rate went up a little bit, you had PP all over our screens yelling and screaming that there goes the economy. There, he failed it. There he goes. It's to the pot. This is how he screwed it. Unemployment's going back up now. I'm not hearing him praising the man that's responsible for everything in the world. Well, sorry, everything that he says is broken in the world. I'm guessing if it works, it's not his fault. But yeah, didn't hear him cheering or congratulating the prime minister equally for adding 64,000 jobs, just as much as he lambasted him the month before for.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Think he's ever going to say anything positive?
No, he's never. But I mean, right, 64,000 jobs created in September, but
yeah,
we're still in the tank. And of course, once again, even though the macro economy is good for everybody living their daily lives who need to eat and who need lodging, if those are still two things at which the inflation rate is rising, and it's rising faster than the actual core inflation rate or wage growth, everybody's affected. And it doesn't matter how good the macroeconomy is doing, everybody's going to say that the economy, because for any individual person, the economy is what they are feeling, sucks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Just is. And that's not just this government, it's many governments around the world. In the United States, it's the same thing. Their interest rates have gone up as well. And I mean, this 336,000 jobs is like the biggest monthly gain this year. So even in the United States, they're wondering now. It's like, is the US Fed going to go up as well? Because so it's kind of weird that you get good news. It's like more jobs, and everybody goes, oh no. But yeah, that's a bit the situation. We have a bifurcating economy, where sort of what people used to say when we came out of the recession, when we had that K-shaped recovery, where people that were doing really well were doing well and people that weren't. But there was like almost like nothing middle. It was either you were going up or you were going down rather sharply.
May I ask you a personal question for a second?
Sure.
Are you in one of Batman's nemesis lairs from the 1960s Batman TV show?
Oh, do tell me. Do tell me.
Well, you're crook.
Yes, I noticed that. I'm looking right up at the camera like this. I do not ask me what he does with the camera when I'm not around.
Well, you remember that from the Batman TV show from the 60s, right? How
I
it
noticed.
was the evil lair of his enemy, and the room was always at an angle.
Yep. I noticed when we started the show, and I'm thinking, like, do I risk it? Just like, because there's no way to discreetly do this. Right?
No,
See the hand come right up.
I just noticed it,
I'm
and I'm
coming
like,
for you. Well, you know what? Since we're talking about it, we brought attention to it.
well, it's because of where I am situated. The camera is a good 12 inches above my laptop screen, so I have to look at the camera. Otherwise, it looks like I'm looking down all the time. So I don't even look at the monitor this morning because this is a temp setup. So when I look to the left where I have it monitoring, I'm like, oh, your room is crooked. What the hell's going on?
I'm trying to do that too. It's way higher. Like the camera.
Yeah.
It's like right here for me. Like, so when I'm
Lay
like
out an eye line.
when I'm looking at my screen, it always looks like I'm looking down.
Well, and because in this instance, like at least your camera's on top of the screen. Here, this is 12 inches above the screen.
Ooh.
So I'm looking at the camera. Now I'm looking at my monitor. See the difference?
Yep.
But if I look to my left, where I have YouTube streaming on another screen, just to monitor to make sure we're all good and that we're not freezing or breaking up or anything, I can see it. But it's like if I look there the whole time, it looks like I'm not looking at the camera. So anyway. Little behind the scenes stuff showing you how the sausage is made, kids and cubs. This is what we do to bring you a quality product every day.
Indeed. All right. Also in the news, kits and cubs. Let's see. There's just so much Hamas and stuff. It's literally dominating. Like in the morning when I listen like to the 5-minute CBC news clip, like 3.5 minutes of the 5 are dedicated to it. It's just it's really something.
I read a quote from Mark Carney yesterday, former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, who said that wages need to increase.
They do.
Corporate profits need to stop increasing, and actually they should shrink. He says increasing wages will not increase inflation. And his economic acumen, along with several economists around the world, back up what he's saying. Wages need to increase across the board. Corporate greed needs to come to a screeching halt, and they actually should reduce their profit margin down to an acceptable level, say 20% instead of 40, 50, 60. Greed is not good. Despite what many people seem to think. It's not. It's bad. And it harms every single human being on earth, except for those who are in power with all the money.
Yep. Other things in the news, there was a meeting of the provincial health ministers in Charlottetown. It's a 2-day meeting, I believe, that's already started. I believe, I'm not sure, I can't remember if it started yesterday or the day before, but I believe that this is the second day. So they're discussing how they're going to grow the healthcare workforce. Mark Holland, who's now the new Minister of Health, says that this is his first meeting with all of his counterparts. He says we are still trying to catch up from the pandemic, even as it's left everyone feeling tired, stretched, and under-resourced. And he says that the priority now is bringing in new healthcare workers and retaining those who already work in the industry. And once again, the famous thing of foreign credentials, they keep on saying that they want to look at foreign credentials and make it easier, but they've never actually gotten together and actually developed something nationally that will help at that. And they are talking about creating pan-Canadian licensing process because, for example, if you're a nurse in your province, but you can't necessarily go work in another province. You have to qualify which each province's board. So they're looking at whether or not there could be a pan-Canadian licensing process, which would allow.
It should be.
I mean, it doesn't create more nurses, but at least it allows them to be mobile in cases, we need to move people quickly to a hot spot while we don't have enough nurses. So that could be a decent idea. There was still some people in the media trying to do with this story like the thing with the Quint as well, because health ministers met first. And I guess the the federal health minister maybe comes a little later, but when it was announced that health ministers are meeting, they go, well, and not with the federal minister? Who are they? And it's like, oh, God, come on, man. You got quotes on TV saying that, he's looking forward to his first meeting with them. Clearly he's attending. But sometimes there are first ministers meetings that do not include the federal, where they meet together to strategize, and then they have the one where the federal person comes on where they meet to beg. Jeez, it's not like this is complicated, but yep, they're just once again trying to wherever they can. So like the federal government's absent, not there, doesn't care. It's just it's exhausting.
Oh, yes.
It's just completely exhausting.
Well, I don't understand why nurses have to qualify in each province. I don't know why there isn't a federal standard. Like, this makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Doctors have a federal standard, do they not?
I do not know. I think they're all their boards are also provincial, but I do not know if they've established a federal standard as well.
Here's the reason I think they are, because a lot of doctors out of med school do what's called a locum. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So it's like somebody up north, Northern Ontario, says, I need to take 4 weeks off on vacation. Can you run my practice? And you're from Quebec or Alberta or wherever. A lot of people go up to the Northwest Territories and Nunavut and the Yukon, and will do a locum, or go to Newfoundland. They will do a locum, in which case they're almost able to pay off their student loans, their medical school debt after about, if they do a year of locums, they're debt free and have money in the bank, because it's a money making scheme for them. Like it really, everything's taken care of, and they take care of patients, and they can go from one province to the next doing locums. It's a common practice. So that would lead me to believe that the doctors are federally licensed across the board.
Mm-hmm.
You might, to set up a practice in a province, you might have to do some sort of see something like write an exam or do a board meeting or something. But to go work in another province, it's not a big deal.
Yep. I'm don't have any knowledge whatsoever, but what you're saying makes a ton of sense on that one. So, Mr. Grizzly, you have a hard out at 8, and we have a couple of minutes, and you said you had something, so I will hand the floor to you.
So, I can't give away what I know. I can't tell you exactly what I know, but I can tell you this. You know how Pierre Poilievre is constantly railing on about the carbon tax? The carbon tax, it's not a tax, it's a carbon regulatory fee. Mm-hmm. You know how he wants to erase it and axe it and get rid of it, and he wants to cut this and cut that and cut another thing? Mm-hmm. I can tell you with full knowledge that will blow up in his face if he tries to cut it, because that money is being used to be poured into green technology. And I can tell you right now, we have trillions of dollars of green technology in the pipeline coming over the next 5 to 15 years. That's all I can tell you. Suffice to say, I have it under absolute authority, unequivocally. That's going to blow up in his face if he tries to cancel that. So let him run on it, because were he to get elected by the people who are not versed on the crap that he spews, he's in for a shock when he discovers that the powers that be are not having what he's selling. They're not buying what he's selling. They're not having it. It'll blow up in his face.
Interesting. Okay. Be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us, because we love making this for you, because sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. Please let your peeps and poops know about us and share the word about our show, because democracy is something that you do. If you have the ability to donate to the Red Cross, we would appreciate that, because it's always good to help if you are able to. And also, make sure that you write to your MLAs, your MPPs, your senators, your MPs, to let them know that you demand better. Because, again, today, nothing in the news snippet about Doug Ford. Nothing. Luckiest SOB on the planet, I tell you. It's being swept under again. Jeez. All right. If you would like to subscribe and not miss an episode, you can go to our pod page site, our pod page, which is sponsored by the Ray Girl. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, all lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, we will come directly to you. We apologize for being a little late in getting the last two episodes out on the podcast, but as you've heard, both Mr. Grizzly and I have been doing 11 or 12-hour days, or maybe even a little bit more the last few. So we appreciate your patience. A couple of things slipped through the cracks during those periods, but we are thinking of you. And if you do like to subscribe to things, then you can make like Kit Elaine, who says right there, "Have a beyond awesome day, everyone, and remember to smash the button before you leave." And often Kit Elaine starts off the show. Remember, kids, if you smash the button now, you don't have to remember to do it later. So she's great because the planner people type and the more spontaneous people type, well, both of them get served. Elaine thinks of everyone. So you go to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, and we have 3 buttons for you there: like, share, subscribe. Click them in whatever order you like, whatever order makes you happy. And yeah, that helps us out big time. We really, really, really appreciate it. And if you would like to encourage us to do more because you think that we make a good product, or if you want to thank Mr. Grizzly for working so hard and going the extra mile, not only by doing the show remotely, but bring in the fashion, well, then you go to our coffee page. That's coffee, if you're listening, spelled ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. Sorry. And that's where you can make your donation to help us produce this show for you. It's a labor of love, but money helps. All right. Mr. Grizzly from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and be gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom, please.
Yes, friends don't let informed friends don't let uninformed friends vote for the Reform Party.
There you go. All right. And if you are in the Northwest Territories, remember that you have a territorial election happening on November 14th. So just over a month to go. All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll them credits. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. And before we go, just a little bit of Canadians who make us proud news. Canadian cyclist named James Piccoli finished third in a 5-stage race called the Tour of Hainan in China, and even won a stage along the way. So bronze medal performance for a Canadian cyclist. Way to go.
Cool.
All right, kids. Have a great day. And have a great day, you too, Mr. Grizzly.
I'll be in Toronto Saturday. For those who want to meet up for a cup of coffee, just hit me a DM on the Twitter. See ya.
Right.